Rain hammered the asphalt, turning the intersection into a mirror of fractured neon. The woman stood dead center, oblivious to the spray of passing tires or the rhythmic hiss of wet rubber against the road. Her eyes pulsed with a soft, rhythmic violet light, casting a faint, unnatural glow onto the raindrops falling around her face. Every blink sent a ripple of color through the mist. The city behind her was a smear of motion, a frantic blur of light. She did not shiver. She did not move. She simply watched the flow of the traffic, her gaze fixed on the chaotic pulse of the street. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of ozone and wet metal. She took a single step forward, her boot splashing into a pool of oil-slicked water. The violet light in her eyes intensified, humming with a low, steady frequency. She turned away from the center of the road, her path cutting straight through the heavy downpour toward the crowded sidewalk. The city lights seemed to dim in her wake. She stepped into the throng of commuters crowding the bus stop. The air here was stale, heavy with the smell of wet wool and exhaustion. As she brushed past a woman hunched against the glass, sobbing into a crumpled handkerchief, the violet light in her eyes vanished, replaced instantly by a deep oceanic sapphire. She stumbled, her breath hitching as if she had swallowed ice water. The grief hit her like a physical weight, pulling her shoulders down. She pushed forward, forcing her legs to move against the sudden, crushing heaviness. A few paces later, she collided with a man standing near the curb. He was clutching a thick stack of medical bills, his knuckles white, his jaw locked in a silent, jagged tension. Her irises flared, the sapphire bleeding out into a harsh, burning crimson. She gasped, fingers digging into her own palms to steady the tremor in her hands. The man blinked, his expression slackening for a fraction of a second, unaware of the sudden lightness he felt. She kept walking, her head bowed, eyes flickering between the residual red and the deep blue, carrying the heavy, invisible burden of their collective pain into the dark flow of the city. She stopped near a rusted newsstand. A few feet away, the air vibrated with a different kind of tension. An old man with a face etched by years of bitterness was jabbing a finger into the chest of a teenager. The boy's face was twisted into a mask of pure, unadulterated rage, his hands balled into tight fists at his sides. They were shouting, but the words were lost in the roar of the rain. The old man shoved the boy, and the boy lunged back, his shoulder slamming into the metal stand with a metallic clang. The woman moved closer, her pace deliberate. As she entered the radius of their anger, her irises began to vibrate. The color drained away, replaced by a blinding, unstable white. The white light flared, casting long, jagged shadows. The men did not notice her yet, locked in their own cycle of hostility. She reached out, her fingers hovering inches from their shoulders, waiting for the exact moment to break the cycle. She slammed her palms onto their shoulders. The impact was not a strike, but a sudden, absolute grounding. The white light in her eyes surged, pouring directly into them. The teenager's shout died in his throat, replaced by a sharp, jagged intake of air. The old man's face went rigid, his jaw locking as if he had been struck by a physical blow. Their bodies stiffened, then slumped, caught in the sudden, violent influx of a memory that was not their own. The teenager saw the empty, quiet house of the old man, the dust on the mantle, the silence of a life lived in total solitude. The old man saw the boy's frantic, desperate search for a place to belong, the hollow ache of being invisible in a crowded city. The rain seemed to stop midair, frozen in the sudden, heavy stillness of the intersection. Both men swayed, their eyes wide, pupils dilated, staring into a space that only they could see. The aggression drained out of them, leaving their limbs heavy and trembling. The woman held them firm, her own breathing shallow, her eyes still burning with that intense, blinding white. She leaned forward, her voice a low, gravelly rasp. She whispered, "See." She pulled her hands back. The connection severed, and the two men remained standing in the center of the intersection, their shoulders slumped and their gazes fixed on the pavement. She turned away without a backward glance. As she walked into the shadows of the alleyway, the blinding white in her eyes faded, replaced by a steady, warm gold that illuminated the path before her. She moved with a rhythmic, quiet gait, disappearing into the dark. Behind her, the city began to change. The harsh, flickering neon signs that had dominated the intersection dimmed. In their place, a soft, amber light spread outward. It crawled across the wet asphalt, reflecting off the puddles and softening the sharp edges of the buildings. The old man and the teenager did not move, but the tension in their frames had vanished. They stood in the center of the amber glow, breathing in the quiet.